So I'm going to call the meeting to order. Everyone has a copy of the agenda in front of you. If you don't, they're up here. Dennis and Nancy are not going to be with us today. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll move the adoption of the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
I still wanted to bring up the sound system further.
Cheryl wants to add
Communications with the
communications system
for the sound
for the
system for the
senior center sound system.
Where should we touch that? Yeah, new business? Well, it's really not. I brought this up before. Right. And so
We've discussed this before, so I'm going to put it under old business.
Okay.
If that's all right with everyone? Anything else to add to the agenda? Approval of the agenda as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. You now have a copy of the minutes from last month that Deb did for us. We'll give you a few minutes to read those over. I'll call for the approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read them? Any changes, additions, subtractions? All those in favor of adopting the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Treasurer's report. That's Dennis, and he's not here. Chief, have you heard anything from the treasurer about the audit?
No, because I didn't know I was going to fill in this month for treasurer's report, but I would like to request one next month, because when I did it that one month, she gave me two different sheets, reports, and Dennis hasn't done that since because of the audit pending.
So the audit was done in April.
Right.
That's my understanding. They did it in April.
So we should be able to get that now. So
Right.
Can Dennis get that to us next month? And if he can't, then I will.
Do you want to check with him and see? It's not like him not to be here. See if he's all right, and if he can check on that.
I'll check with him. I'll send him an email. If he is unable to give us a report in June, then I will do it.
Absolutely, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much. Public comment. Old business. The Board of Trustees special meeting, discussion, review the email I sent, and wanting to know if anybody had anything to add. So, after the last meeting, has everyone had a chance to read this? I sent it at the 30th of June. The 30th of April. So, does anyone have anything they'd like to say about this email that I sent?
I thought it was very informative, and I thought it shows the desire of our board members and this board to be of service to the community, serving our seniors.
So, again, our our question to you, the Board of Trustees, was how could we be helpful? I think primarily we were talking about through the end of the current term of the Board of Trustees, which is through the end of November. I think that we're asking, how can we be purposeful to you in the last 5 or 6 months of your term of service? And based on our conversation and the work that we've done in the past, I suggested research and identifying grant funds available from the county or the state or the private sector for the senior center renovation, and assisting in the development of grant applications. Ryan was asking us for suggestions, and so these are some of them that I felt were important. Identify local regional partners for collaborators that can provide educational and professional resources and programs which enrich the lives of our seniors. 3, continue to do community outreach for and about the senior center. Those were the direct suggestions that I made. Continuing to say that we can build relationships and develop partnerships. Again, a comment about needing to expand the senior center for purposes of preparing food and serving food. I think the one thing that unanswered in here for me and very important is the word services, the Senior Services Advisory Board. So part of our responsibility is to see that services are provided to the seniors in the senior center who come in there every day. It could be like anything from a simple request like all of a sudden my neighbor needs to go into a nursing home, and do you have any suggestions about where I should even start to look? That's a pretty simple request for service, but with 96 people in the senior center every day, I'm sure that those requests for service come up quite frequently. We developed a database which is on an Excel system which correlates all the 3 existing resource books and targets it specifically to Bath Township and to Clinton County. And those resources are available to the staff at the senior center, but there's a lack of there's a lack of knowledge as far as technology is concerned. I don't believe there's anyone in the office who knows how to use a computer. I'm not being facetious. I think that the skill level of the greeter and those who work in the kitchen, it's not expected that they have those great technology skills, and I don't believe that they have those skills. So in order to use that system, someone is going to have to take the request for service from the senior center someplace else in order to get a service provided. And I think that that's a really critical part of the senior center, is helping our seniors who are in need. So Ryan, may I ask you, did you have any response to this email, or what your thought was, or did you have anything to bring back to us today about the discussion?
No, nothing to bring back to you, but I appreciate the email, and I think your requests are very actionable, very specific, which is appreciated.
Well, on Monday night's a board meeting. Would you like us to give a report on our thoughts in order for the conversation to continue, or how would you see us best moving forward?
I've asked the superintendent if she has recommendations to bring them forward. I don't think it'll be on this agenda. I haven't seen a draft yet, but I'll check with her before I leave today.
And would you let us know?
Yes.
I would greatly appreciate that.
Judy, I have a question.
Jean?
On your suggestion number 1, research and identify grant funds, etc., is that something we need the board's approval to go ahead and do, or is that something we can do on our own?
All of this requires board's approval, I would assume.
To identify the grants?
Not to identify, but if we were to identify a grant that was a great possibility for the renovation, then we would go to the trustees and request permission to write that grant
Pursue it.
Okay,
and then to submit that grant.
and we are able to identify those.
It's my understanding, absolutely, yes.
The research part is anyone, it's America, any one of us can do that. It's just, we can't act on behalf of the town to pursue it.
To complete the grant
Right,
request. or-
Right, to make the formal request and go through that type of thing. That is collaboration with the
Right.
board.
Speaking of collaboration, I read on Facebook that the daycare center is closing, Rocking Horse is closing, and they serve as the drop-off location for Meals on Wheels in our community. Again, we are the Senior Services Advisory Board, and so I reached out to Karen and asked her if we could do that research. How many meals are there? How many people do they serve? Who are the volunteers? What are the requirements for stays? Before we could even look at helping them, we could collaborate with them. I see it as a very important role that we play, reaching out into the community and to develop collaborations and partnerships. Karen's response to me was very quick and very simple. Who do I contact? And because I didn't have, because my hands are often tied, I said I haven't done the research yet. We'd be happy to do it, but I don't want to do it and then have you say, why did you do that? And so I told her no, and she said, well, then she would take care of it.
Did
So
we
I
get
think
the announcement we got today?
I
Meals on Wheels.
think that that's a very vital role for us, to reach out into the community, to develop partnerships, to build collaboration, which is why I reached out to her right away, not going and doing it right away on our own, but we're in a conversation about what our role should be. So I felt it was only appropriate for me to ask her. So Jean, I'm sorry, I wasn't finished speaking.
I'm sorry.
What did you going to say?
Wasn't that the announcement that was made today that it's the 29th at the senior center? What's the 29th?
No,
I thought it was the food bank.
No, this is different. This is Meals on Wheels. It comes out of the Tri-County Office on Aging,
I'm
and
sorry.
their delivery site is closing. So I was asking Karen, is it appropriate for us to go out and
That's Meals on Wheels.
do that? Yes.
So Karen stated that she would follow through and she would make that connection with Meals on Wheels to.
She would handle it. So I would ask Becca, did she ask you to reach out about that, Becca?
Not yet, but I mean, you said that just happened yesterday,
Last week.
last week. Well, I know I've had to have a few contacts at the Tri-County Commission on Aging that I've been talking to about programming recently, so I'll get with Karen on that and I can reach out to them and coordinate and see what can be done. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's at a time that's inappropriate for the senior center, or the location isn't good, we can help to identify other locations within the community.
Absolutely.
But if she doesn't want us to be helpful,
Yeah, I'll go ahead and get with her on that and
Yeah.
see if she's checked into it or if she wants any help with that or what's.
if she wants any help, just
Yeah.
let us know.
Absolutely.
Okay, Judy, I have another question. Just to clarify, the line of communication, should that request you made of Karen gone to Becca? Since Becca is our liaison, should that have gone to Becca?
I CC'd Becca.
Hmm?
I CC'd Becca. Didn't I CC you on that?
I don't think I saw it, but maybe. I could have just missed it.
But should it have gone to Becca and maybe CC Karen? That's what I'm asking. Just for the line of communication, is Becca our first contact? I think she is. So in the future, I think if we have questions and so forth, personally, I think it should go to Becca and then maybe CC Karen. That's just my thought.
Is that the structure that you prefer, right?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay. We'll write that down.
Well, my thoughts about the procedures, I thought that's what that meeting was for, is to set guidelines and a procedure for what we are supposed to do. And I don't feel that happened, but you got a lot more out of it than I did, so.
Well, did you feel that anything was resolved?
No, not one thing.
Right. And did you understand from Ryan, in asking him to respond to this email, Did you understand what would be the next steps? From Ryan?
No, I don't, where, what,
No, he has not responded.
oh, okay.
He spoke just a few minutes ago.
Oh, but, so I can't say if I got anything from Ryan's response here.
Yeah, right here.
What did you say again, please?
I said it was reasonable, it was actionable, I think it was really helpful, and I appreciate it.
For these things here.
Yeah, I'm not saying we'll do all those things, I'm just saying the request is reasonable, and it is well within your scope as a committee, which I think is fantastic.
But these things did not come out of the meeting, correct?
I'm not sure that that's Judy, she originated them.
It's okay, yeah, I'm fine. I mean, if we're to work on these are fine, but we still didn't get any procedure on where our line of communication was, so.
So Becca, anything else on the special meeting that anyone wants to add? Ryan?
No, thank you.
Becca, you're doing a great job with our activities you're on. How's it going?
Good, good. I have a few updates. So, first, we talked about asking the kitchen, and I asked the ladies over at the kitchen what would be, if they could have, anything for that needs assessment, what would they want? And I know it was talked about at the meeting, it's been brought up a couple times, but it's really the walk-in fridge and freezer is that number one want. And the reasoning behind it is the ability to shop and prepare food ahead of time. And it just really limits how many meals they can provide without that space. So,
Would that would that necessitate additional square footage?
I don't think that they can answer that. I know that's what they want. I mean, I think that would go through either that would have to be, I feel like something brought to either, actually planning for the building. But that's what, no limitations, what would they need, what would they want, that's number one on that want and wish list.
Fantasy question.
Yeah.
If you had anything you wanted. But I felt it was, that Karen basically said that she felt that she could justify using funds to bring those two things in. They would be mounted on the outside of the exterior of the building, freeing up floor space, and so she felt that could be interpreted as an expansion of the senior center. I don't agree, even though I think it would certainly give the kitchen staff more, but it would not give our seniors more space, which I think has always been the intent of a senior center expansion, is more room for the seniors themselves, for their bodies.
We were full today, and I'm sorry Karen doesn't know, and the rest of the board's I've never seen any other board members there, so to see how many meals were carried out, I don't know the numbers today, but the seats were all full, as they have been many times. I'm sorry Karen doesn't know that, because she said it at the meeting.
It's surprising, it was surprising that she
She
had
had
that
no idea, but they ran out of food one day.
The day we had our meeting, actually Monday the 29th, they ran out.
And everyone gets there at 11:30
Yeah, to get parked.
to make sure
Yeah.
there's a seat. And it was still, I went there with my dad, and just was it Monday?
Last Friday.
Last Friday. And we got there at 11:30, and it was hard. We had to actually bring another chair over so there would be a place for us to sit. And everything was very tight. The whole place was very compacted. I mean, movement is very compacted. And the number, maybe I should mention this later, but we talked about sound system. That was the number one thing that people at the table said to me, was they can't hear. And they really are unhappy that we don't have a sound system. And I said, well, we had the impression something had happened, but
I do actually have, that's my next update.
okay, I know it's kind of okay. But anyway, as far as the fantasy for the kitchen staff, I totally get what they're saying, but I'm not personally in favor of using those funds to that end, because I don't feel like it was the intent of that.
The seniors for the last 10 years have worked really hard to raise $40,000.
Yes.
I mean, these are Tuesday tacos, pancake breakfast, garage sales, bake sales, popcorn sales, Dolly and Kenny, Elvis. I mean, we've worked really hard to raise that money. And if they thought that it was just gonna buy a refrigerator, they would be so disappointed. They wanted to expand the space, the usable space for them, you know, and that was their intention. And when I heard Karen indicate that money could be used for a refrigerator, a walk-in refrigerator and a freezer, I was very disappointed.
I was too.
I think too, part of the concern I have specific to that is, as much as, you know, I'm not going to talk about anyone's motives here. Let's say that everything is completely altruistic and everyone is just wants the greater good. The problem I still have though is a financial one, in that all this money could be spent on a building that's still too small, and then that money was spent, and now we, like a year or two later, we're not providing services because we simply can't anymore. There's not enough room for anybody, and all that money is already gone. So it's like a short-term, expensive short-term fix. Do you know what I'm saying? That specifically is my worry about that, even more than the fact that it's not adding square footage for the seniors, which is saying something, because I'm strong about that too. I'm just saying, I don't like throwing money at something that's not gonna fix things long term. It'll feel like a waste. It'll feel like we got nothing if later then we have to abandon the building.
The kitchen did also have one other kind of side note based on that and reasoning behind it. Whereas, so an expansion, I mean, we didn't really talk about an expansion per se, because I was just really asking about like a want, like what right now, what is a need right now. And that need was to provide more meals. So like you guys just talked about running out of food and having, occasionally, not often, but it happens occasionally on those really busy days, that, you know, would be so much less likely to happen if there was that more preparation space, you can prepare more meals. So their argument, I might be putting words in their mouth, but from what I kind of like gathered from them, might be like, you know, to that, an argument might be that, you know, you could, by having that extra space, you could provide more meals and provide a better service. And yes, more might have to go because there might not be the room, but you might want to be able to provide that service with this space to actually make the meals before providing the space for people to come and eat them there. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. I'm gonna share a personal thing because it is on point, I promise.
Yeah.
Took my dad to the doctor. The doctor was very worried because he lost so much weight. The doctor's solution was social eating. Specifically, social eating. She actually was, you know, like, do we need to look at some type of assisted living? We're like, no, we're not there. For heaven's sakes, no. But, so that's what we are, as a family, we've come together. He gets some of it, and his first thing was, well, I go to the senior center. That was his first thing he said, and the doctor's like, yeah, but that's only 3 days a week. You know, that's not enough. And he's gained 10 pounds in the last 3 weeks because of eating together. And, you know, it staves off depression. It staves off those health issues from you just don't feel like eating when you're in a social environment. So, I mean, even though, yes, we could do more takeout, our seniors, sincerely, firsthand, I'm telling you, they really count on that social interaction when they're eating. It's better for them mentally and physically.
I spoke to our county commissioner about this too, because he serves on the consortium board for the Tri-County Office on Aging, and his first question to me was, Judy, are they coming there for the food, or are they coming there for the socialization? And I said it's both. They come for the food because the meal is fantastic, but that's where their family is, that's where their friends are, that's where their second home is, and they come definitely for socialization.
I find it astounding and unreasonable that we're not yet back to pre-COVID. If we have to bring meals in elsewhere until the kitchen expands, it's still bring it from Spags, I don't care. But meals, food, 5
We
days
are
a week.
at pre-COVID numbers.
But not meals.
No, it's
Not
for
a number of meals.
Yes,
Days.
yes, we're past it.
Days. No, days. Monday through Friday.
What are the plans for the Rocking Horse building? Who owns it? Do we know?
Well, probably.
Daryl Kessler.
Oh, okay.
Where is that?
It's right by the post office, just outside if you're going, you know, towards the Dollar General from the post office parking lot. It's right there on the right. I'm just wondering because that has a kitchen. It has.
I believe another daycare is planned to move in there.
Is that the, okay.
That's
I
what I
wonder.
understand.
Okay.
All right, good discussion.
Tricia, let's get back to.
Alright. And the sound system, might as well say that one next. So I did ask Taylor about that. The funds were earmarked for a sound system. The sound system was purchased. I know it's not a very big one, but that was what was available with the funds, the $500 that was available and donated. And then that's what's over there. So I guess it's before my time, so I guess before the big problem was that it was staticky and wasn't as loud. So this new one was supposed to get rid of the static and be louder. So I can't speak to how that comparison is, but that is the updated system used with those funds. And then we're in the works of buying a plaque though to honor, I'm sorry, I forgot her name.
Bonnie Older.
Yeah, so we're going to have a plaque that, honors that donation, says that the sound system was donated by Bonnie.
Thank you.
And then,
Did you have a question?
yeah, anything specific to that? I know you had something to say too, I'm not sure.
I'm keeping hearing from everybody that it doesn't work and we can't hear, and $500 should buy something decent.
It was the number one complaint at the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
But last Friday it was like, we need a sound system, and I'm like, I think we have one, but I couldn't, we were concerned about the last meeting we talked about.
Yeah, they couldn't even hear during the movie.
Yeah, so I don't know,
Hooked up right, something not right.
can it be up?
Liquid.
I don't know. It's not functioning to the point where they're even aware of its existence.
Okay. And there could be something too, that could be something on the list of, maybe we need to update it further, or maybe look into
Right,
some of those ones.
who looked it up and what's...
Yeah. I'm not sure details on that one, but, yeah, we could always look at doing it.
Maybe it's partly because of the building, so maybe we need to look at ceiling tiles or soundproofing on the walls or something.
Or speaker placement.
Speaker placement, something stupid, they did not hooked up.
Well, I'm not even 100% sure, you said.
Try turning it on and off.
I'm not sure it's connected to the TV. The movie might just be going through the TV. So that could be a problem with that. It might not even be hooked up. Because I know I use it during bingo when I filled in over there, and I know I use it for that, but I'm not sure it actually, and it connects to the microphone, but I'm not sure it actually connects. I'm sure it probably can connect to the TV, I'm just not sure it is. So
I
that
would
could
imagine
be-
we need an expert to look at it that knows.
Can you have that looked into?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go take a look at it myself.
Fantastic.
Judy, I just have a quick question for Becca.
Yeah.
Becca, do you understand the computer system at the senior center? Are you able to access it?
Yes, I haven't accessed everything. Do you have something specific, or?
No.
I mean, I do bingo over there, I
I
play,
know Linda does it, and I just wondered if you did.
from everything that I've used over there in my limited time of filling in, yes.
Okay.
I was talking at different tables. I try to go around and sit at a different table every time I go in there, but I just was asking people what they'd like to do for fun this summer, and they mentioned going to a Love Nuts game.
Okay.
So this is with organized transportation, like from from Clinton County Transit.
Okay.
When I spoke to her before, she said she would love to partner with us on all kinds of innovative things, so I think that she might help us with that. They loved the picnic that we had last year down at Wishwasher Park. Someone suggested when it was really hot, maybe go to a movie at a movie theater. There was some interest in going out to the alpaca farm, an arts and crafts sale, honors in November. And another thing they talked about, which was really fun last year, or before the pandemic, was we had Grandparents' Day, where you could bring your grandkids to lunch, and there were activities before lunch outside for them to do, and that was a lot of fun. They really
We had an
enjoyed that.
appropriate lunch for children.
Oh, yes, of course.
I think it was hot dogs and mac and cheese or something like that, but I mean, it was for children.
Joe's or something like that, I can't really remember myself, but they really loved that. Anything else on activities for Becca?
I've got a couple more
Go
that
ahead.
are in the
Go for
running.
it. We're happy for you.
So on the 5th, June 5th, there's going to be a STEAM presentation. I know I just had one by the police officer here, Officer Latham, but also I just talked to Tri-County Commission on Aging, and that was their very next one. And I'm like, well, I really wanted to get them in and start that relationship. And so there will be a STEAM presentation done by the Tri-County Commission on Aging, and we're an open site, so there will be people from other communities coming to that too.
And what time of day is that?
You know what, I forgot to write down the time. I will have it posted, and I'll have it online, and I'll have it on the Facebook for the senior center, and I'll have it posted over there too.
And Mary should know if it's around a meal
Yeah,
time.
I already brought over some flyers, but they're in the corner, and they kind of get passed by a little bit, so I will make note of that and get that, if you guys could spread the word too for me. Another update is the Girl Scout troop is going to be planting some flowers outside the senior center. They ended up planting trees over, oh gosh, I can't remember where they planted it, but they planted some trees on one of the properties, and they wanted to do a little bit more, so now they're going to be planting some flowers right outside the senior center, and I believe doing some hanging baskets too. So that's going to be happening, I think, in the next couple weeks, so I'll be looking out for that. And the sound system, check. All right, and now I have an announcement, an unfortunate announcement, but kind of good for me at least. I accepted a position elsewhere. So at DARA for the Intuit. So my position will be being posted. I think it was posted today, right? So that is posted. I will be here until the end of next week, and then I will be also available for, getting someone else and getting the program still going and everything while I leave, so hopefully a little seamless transition. But that just to let you know that is happening.
Is it a full-time or part-time position?
I believe it's full-time.
Your present position?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's full-time.
So just to let you guys know about that.
And when are you going, or where are you?
I will be here until next Friday, and then I'm going to DARA and DeWitt. I accepted a position there as the special programs coordinator for special populations.
Oh, missed you.
Thank you. I miss you guys too. But just all the things we talked about today, just to let you know, I talked to Taylor about it, and I will be trying to set up programming for at least a couple months in advance. So all these ideas we talked about, if you have ideas before I leave next week, get them to me, and I can get those set up.
Fantastic. You ever try Peacock Rotary Farm for a trip?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not sure if there's husband or not, but I'll
I
look
can
it
go,
up.
I can ask.
Only in the winter.
No, they have all kinds of stuff all summer long, winter. It's just,
Really?
it's amazing.
Great.
I can ask Ed if that would be.
Yeah.
So will we need another liaison, a temporary
That's what will
liaison?
happen with us.
I'm not sure what that, the next liaison is going to be, or what that next flow of communication is. The person beyond me is Taylor, so I'm assuming that would be the next kind of, if you do have something that comes up, then Taylor would be the person to go to. But we can clarify that before I leave.
And you say your last day is Friday?
Next Friday, the 24th.
So Ryan, will you let us know, who will let us know who our liaison is?
I'll check in with the administration. Someone should be assigned to you in the interim.
In the interim,
Mhm.
okay.
So the building addition, Jean, did you want to speak to that?
Well, it's come up that we're wondering if it would be possible to look into making the deck area a four-season room, enclosing that and making it a four-season room, we don't use the deck because it's too hot out there in the summer, and it's too windy, we can't put cards or anything out there. And so I have no idea what the cost would be, but I'm assuming it would be a whole lot less than
I gave you the builder's estimate.
the other options were. So I was wondering if Cheryl would bring this to, or discuss it bring it to the board to see if we could look into the cost of making the deck area a four-season room just to get the information. What would it cost? So that's what I was wondering, can we ask Cheryl to do that? To bring that to the board and ask if that would be possibly an option. I'm sure it would be a whole lot less money,
I think it's a good idea.
because it's not used.
Right.
the thought was good.
There's not even chairs and stuff out there.
Well, there were, and there were umbrellas,
Do you know the square footage?
but we didn't use it because it was too hot out there in the summer, and again, too windy, we couldn't put lights or anything out there.
We do have furniture for that place to use as a patio, and really it should be put back out there.
So it was a good thought.
Yes.
But now, to enclose that and make it a four-season room, that would create the space that we're asking for.
Great. Sorry. Any other comments on the addition? Questions?
Would you be willing to do that, Sheila?
Is that what our procedure is supposed to be?
Ask the boss. Should we ask,
Is
bring
it
it to the
Cheryl's
board and see if we
responsibility
can?
to take that forward?
Yeah, I just want to clarify, I'm not the boss. Cheryl has just as much authority as I do. What I imagine the board would say is that needs to be a capital improvement project to go through the CIP process, which will be coming up this summer in light of the budget process starting in September. So if it's, I think 30,000 is the floor. If it would be 30,000 or more, it would go through the CIP process.
Okay, do we need the board, I don't understand protocol. Do we need the board to approve? Do we then go with this? Can you tell me what the steps would be?
Yeah, committees can make recommendations for CIP projects. You all have done that in the past with the
Okay,
seniors.
so then Cheryl would bring that to the board.
No, it would go to the planning commission. There will be a date that you have to turn it in by, and then the planning commission will review all the projects.
So the board doesn't have to approve it.
Eventually they do.
Yeah, the CIP, when it's finished, will come to the board.
But we could, so the first step is the planning commission.
Yes.
Okay, so then Cheryl would go to the planning commission?
I mean, Cheryl could, but you as a committee also have access to that process.
Okay,
So during the annual budget year, the planning commission puts out a request for proposals for capital improvement projects. That's how we happen to be discussing the senior center all along. Because we have for years, since 2017, turned in an application to the planning commission, the planning board, through the CIP process, capital improvement program process. If it's approved by the planning board, your request for an addition to the senior center for the $100,000, if that's what it will cost. Then if it's approved by the planning commission or the planning board, I think they're a board, then it moves forward to the board of trustees. If the board of trustees feels that it's worthy of funding, then as a part of their budget process in September, I believe it is, then it would appear in the senior center budget, building expansion, $100,000, and they would budget $100,000 into our annual budget for that expansion, that building addition. Now, I will say that a $100,000 commitment, even in a budget, doesn't mean that the board will do it. The nature trail is a perfect example of that. So, but you can only hope that they would live up to their word. So the goal is, as Ryan is saying, we're going to start again now. We've done this before. We've done it a lot of times. Now we're going to go back to the planning board and start the process again.
okay.
Could I correct just one piece of that?
Absolutely.
The planning commission doesn't actually approve or deny. They make recommendations, they score them, but they're not an approval or a denial function.
That's the trustee's
The
responsibility.
capital improvement project is, are we applying for a grant?
No.
Or we're just asking, they gather all these projects
Who is
together?
they?
The planning commission
Yes.
gathers the projects together. No money involved yet, but they know about how much each project is.
When you
gonna
turn
cost.
in your application, you tell them what the anticipated cost would be.
And the application is for them to take it, to approve it, and then for it to go to the board.
He just
They
said,
recommend, the planning board
recommendation.
makes recommendations to the township trustees, they fund,
Based on the application.
Mhm.
Okay.
and
Okay.
they
Who
fund.
gives the estimates?
We do, whoever does the application.
So have you done the applications before, Judy?
I've probably done 12 of them.
So can you do that application for us, if Cheryl hasn't done one?
Well, we'll do it
Do
together.
it together? Okay.
Who actually gets the estimates? That's where I'm lost.
For all the proposals I've done in the past, I've gotten them myself.
I think that's a broken part of the process.
That's what
I think your question is really fair. We don't have a good process of how that
That's why I
happens.
brought it up.
Yes, it is on my list to figure out how that might work, to make sure
If there's
folks
no-
on multiple committees are not talking to multiple people without some,
Right, if there's no cost to an estimate, if I had a friend that would do this free, why can't I do it, even if I'm not on this committee or even on the board or whatever, with the same, say, I'm thinking to her, I'm a citizen, and I have this estimate for, that's not illegal.
no, nothing. Cheryl, be clear, again, you're not going to steal. I know it's a big concern of yours. You're right, it's not
I
legal.
could, you never know, but,
The caution is implying that there is some level of authority in committee members in representing the township. That's the caution.
but as a citizen, I quit this committee, I quit the board, I can bring an estimate to you guys, as a citizen to the meeting. Is that incorrect? Is it not legitimate?
I
I'm
mean,
lost.
they'd have to ask that question. I don't know. Of course you can do that, Sharon. but
Estimate and bid are two very different words. We would never ask for a bid, because that would imply you're acting with authority. But to get an estimate with, again, the clear understanding that we just need a ballpark number so that we can present this. We are not contracting with you in any way.
Yes,
You know, and it would have to be multiples anyway, so, et cetera. But,
We do need an estimate to complete this application, correct?
Yes, it does require a budget. It does ask you how much it's gonna cost.
Okay.
Jean, did you know the square footage of the deck? Do you happen to know what the square footage of that deck is?
I don't, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can do it with Flash.
I know it's pretty close to what we were asking, 17 by 17.
Any other discussion on that?
Is it
Moving on.
17 by 17?
The need for a program and service coordinator,
I'll do it a bit bigger.
especially with Becca leaving, I feel really strongly that we need to have someone in the center all the time that is responsible for programs and services and coordinating all the things that are happening over there. So things don't slip through the cracks.
At least on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Excuse me?
Maybe Judy, at least on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, when most of the people are there.
Yeah, I mean, and who knows what's gonna happen on Tuesdays and Thursdays? We need a program coordinator in the center. That's my own personal opinion.
Well, I agree with you,
I
totally.
would hope that there's support for that around the table.
Are you saying that would be a different person than the, say, director or?
I would think you could call that person a director. Becca the recreation department is taking care of our activities, our recreation needs. But there's so much more than recreation that happens at the senior center that needs to be coordinated. It's great that the recreation department is willing to handle our activities, but there's a lot more that happens there.
I thought that Becca was taking over the whole responsibility that was vacated by, which?
That wasn't my understanding. It was she's assigned to take care of
That was-
recreation activities.
Well, that was the intention, was when Jenna left, and then to fill that, because Linda was doing taking the money, doing that part, doing bingo and doing the, boots on the ground actual, and then I was taking over Jenna's recreation and the programming and the making contacts with people and that kind of stuff, that was the intention.
And that is what her job is.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the position description that was posted today says. It will all be news with. So personally, I think we have been asking the administration for a plan for the senior center for 2024 since 2023. And we haven't really received anything.
Okay, but that's.
So it would be very helpful to me, I don't know about the rest of you, if we could see what the administration's plan was for the senior center for 2024. Like I said, we've been asking since 2023, and so I can't answer that question. This is news to me, what you're saying about Becca?
Oh,
That wasn't my understanding.
Oh, okay, that's what mine was, but, so you're calling Jenna's job a was the correct coordinator.
Yes.
Okay, so instead of a director or a,
Well, I'd like to call her a director if we got full-time money for it, full-time hours.
but in here, for our purposes and planning purposes, you want that, you consider Becca's job right now.
No, I do not. I see Beck as responsible for activities.
Okay, but that's not what her role is.
She's leaving it.
She's leaving it,
So
right?
it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It's my understanding that the board is not going to hire another coordinator, that it's going to be Becca or Becca's position
Yes.
that's going to be there part-time, but they're not going to hire another full-time coordinator at this time.
Well, if that's the case,
Well,
then
yeah,
you're
yeah,
concerned
yeah.
about services and having someone there who can connect people with resources and services, that will not be happening.
Right, there's no service coordinator at the center.
No.
I don't think, it was my understanding that Becca was being asked to handle all of the recreational activities for the seniors at the senior center. That was my understanding. As I said, I have not seen a plan from the administration for what they intend, so I can only go by what I understand, and that's what I understand, because I've seen nothing else. So we can just leave it at that. I mean, that's up to
Well,
the
it makes a
administration.
difference. It does make a difference.
I
Her
agree.
role, because if they replace her, she has to be replaced as Jen's old job.
Well, and that's why I say we were going to see the position description, but again, I'm always in the dark. I have no idea.
I don't
Have you
know.
seen it, Becca?
It just happened today. I haven't taken a look at it.
Okay, so.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I would move forward under that assumption that yes, all the programming that Jenna was doing would now fall under whoever's going to replace me. And then Linda should be doing like when you said that she should be fielding the request if someone comes in and has a question, or if it's Izzy or Alyssa, who's also staffed on Tuesdays and Thursdays, whoever that person that's staffed there should be the one, if someone comes in and says, I need a walker, they should be going through the garage or the shed with them, getting them that, or the incontinence supplies, or saying, oh, you need this resource, this is a number. So that's that position there by those three
The
people.
cashier.
Well, those three people, so it'd be Alyssa, Izzy, or Linda.
Do they know that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they are absolutely qualified and knowledgeable to do that. They know where everything is, they know the resources, and if someone comes in with a question, they are absolutely more than capable of helping them through whatever problem there is.
Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay. So your job isn't Jenna's job?
It's part of it. It's the programming part.
Oh,
It's the planning, like when Jenna planned the Elvis event and the Dolly and the
She didn't plan any of that. We did it.
Well, but she helped, right?
No,
Like
she did not.
coordinating or.
No, she did not. Nothing.
All right, but like sign-up sheets for information sessions or
Yeah.
those types of things, right? Like those things that were happening, the hearing aid tests, those things. That's stuff that I've taken over, and then whoever replaces me will then be doing that too.
okay, so Judy was right. You are just,
Programs and activities.
activities.
That's it.
And then also like ordering for the senior centers also and things like that. So yeah,
Activities.
like getting incontinence supplies and
Those resources.
For some aspects.
yeah.
So it'd be nice to-
Yeah.
it would be great to see the position description. And we'll have to discuss this further.
Okay.
And new business. Anyone have any new business? Update. That's you, Cheryl.
Well, we sort of went over that, this sound system with, we need to look into that.
An update on the trustee.
Oh, I'm backing up to new business issues.
No, not answered.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but then I've been emailing today I wanted to put it on the board's agenda to look into that.
The sound system.
Sound system, yeah, because we've heard nothing but complaints about it, and I asked to put it on the agenda, and I think I'm being ignored. I don't think it'll be on the agenda, but I'll bring it up at the board meeting again to see if we can maybe hire somebody that knows something about sound systems to walk in there rather than throw it in your lap, to look at it and say, is it just not hooked up, or did we spend $500? I'd like to see the receipts for it, whatever. Why not? We were donated that money for that purpose. I'd like to see it.
I'd rather
Understand
that
it's
than
hooked up.
that become Becca's responsibility.
Right, it's
I'm
already-
she got a week and a half.
Yeah,
You've got a million irons in the fire. I don't know how.
Stopping over there and just looking to see if the
Right.
TV is connected.
Then call me and let me know.
I'm trying so hard
Find somebody that's just.
to leave well. And I respect that, that's integrity, I really respect that. Yeah, she has.
Yeah.
You will be sorely missed. I just don't want more burden on you, because because of your work ethic, I can only imagine the things that are spinning around your brain.
My goal is to make it easier on everyone,
Yeah.
and hopefully a nice seamless transition when I leave.
Superintendent's report, do you have anything to report from the superintendent's office? Public comment, right?
The only one I have is, are you the one that's going in front of the planning commission?
Am I what?
Are you the one that's going to go in front of the planning commission? The CIP
When
program?
Miles releases the forms, the applications, I'll bring it right here because
Okay.
it's a very complicated process and I certainly don't have to do it by myself when I have all these willing team members who can help me.
That was part of the question. The other part is, whoever speaks in front of them, which is that's why I picked on you. Whoever speaks in front of them, I hope that they will ask them how many CIP programs have been completed.
How many projects funded have been developed?
How many projects have been completed from the CIP program?
Do you know that, Ryan?
I don't, but the planning commission will also not know that. That's not a planning commission thing, that's a staff thing. They don't implement projects.
They what?
They don't implement projects.
What the planning commission, my understanding of what the planning commission does, and Ryan, jump in, because I know you will, it has to do with deciding the importance of what that project is. So the comment of how many have been completed still stands. Whether they decide who completes it or not isn't the issue. They rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm throwing that out. So after the ranking takes place, it comes in front of the board. My question is, the only one that I'm ever aware of has been the kitchen. And that's because you had a grant of all the years. So I'm just saying, whatever you decide to do for your CIP program, whoever it is that's going to be asking the planning commission this, you need to know how many of those programs that they've ranked have been completed.
To what end? What do you feel that will benefit us?
It benefits
That
you.
information.
It benefits you in that information to understand that when you go for a CIP, it's not guaranteed by any stretch. And that's been told.
Right, yeah, we've got.
I mean, you've done it 16 times. Out of your 16 times, the understanding for me, and I could be totally wrong on
The
that,
senior center kitchen was funded.
with a grant.
What? The township put money into it.
Yes, they did. No, what I'm saying is, that CIP program, what is this, 2024? CIP's been going for how long?
Forever. It's part of the planning process for
I mean, that's been,
I've
they're mandated,
been involved since 2015.
and probably before that.
No.
So the question,
Bad township.
I'm saying, the CIPs have been there before that. So all I'm saying, and that information, Deb, for you, for this group, is to understand that you need to put the work in it, you need to have the numbers, you need to go to the planning commission for the CIP process. But understand that process is a really interesting, it's not complicated. What makes it complicated is they being the commission, decides who's going to have it, who isn't. In other words, where you rank. So if you rank second or third within their process, if you rank number 1 in their process, my question is, and well, it's not a question, I already know the question, whoever it is that's going to discuss with the planning commission, one of the questions you want to ask is, where does that fall? And yes, they do have a really important piece with that. Our board always depends on our committees. especially the planning commission.
I have a question. Are all of the projects before the planning commission taken to the board of trustees?
No.
Only those that they recommend.
Only the ones
They
that
all
I-
are. They all are.
Well, they all are, but they have a recommendation.
They have the
Yeah,
right.
they're all ranked. They're
They're
ranked.
all
They're
ranked.
ranked.
Oh, okay.
So what we really want to know is, where are we ranked?
Where, oh, you'll know, yes,
Our
absolutely.
ranking.
You want to
It
know
is
your
going to go
ranking.
to the board.
You want to know your ranking, but you also want to know, out of the CIP programs that have taken place, how many have been completed? And that goes back to what Ryan stated with regards to someone making a decision as to what project's important and what project isn't. I've monitored since about 2010, so, I'm kind of
Here's an
honest.
example of what that I did in 2017.
But is that the
And that-
planning commission or the board?
The planning, well, that's the question.
Because
The
if
planning commission allegedly ranks them. When they rank them, they give them to the board. The board then determines what they think,
Is it a-
if they determine at all, where things would fall. So if the commission says, we think this is the 5th ranking, and the board says, nope, we think that's more important, then that should go into your budget to determine whether or not that program or that CIP is an important thing to have.
So the ranking from the commission is important, but more important is the ranking from the board.
Well,
If
Because
the
the board, they changed the commission's
The board
ranking.
will rarely question the commission.
Okay.
but don't they have the right to
They-
say, for example,
Absolutely.
we're on board for number 3, but not 1 or 2?
In 2019, the senior center expansion in front of the park, in front of the planning board ranked number 1. In 2019, the senior center expansion ranked number 1. For being constructed in 2020. And in this budget year, 2020, the planning board asked the township board to budget $95,000 towards the cost of the building expansion.
That was the commission's number 1 project,
Senior center expansion, and when we turn it in, it usually is the number 1.
and the board has
Did you
never
pass this down
approved
to
it?
Jean so she could see it? Did you see this?
I just,
All right.
So, I guess one thing I'm confused about it is, why was it never even put to vote? Why was the senior expansion never even put to vote in the board of trustees?
I guess I don't know how to answer that. What do you mean?
Well, it never actually came up to a formal vote, correct?
No, none of the projects came up for a formal vote.
no,
Why not?
Because it's a plan, you accept the capital improvements plan as a whole. You don't pick out projects.
You don't pick out projects?
No.
I thought we just said,
They could defund,
They
they could choose those capital improvements to fund.
Yes, we could, but that's a separate process. Just to be clear, that does not happen at the same time. So it's meant as an informative piece to help the board determine the budget for the next year. So it's a piece of evidence, just like the things that the staff brings and other pieces that we know are coming from the state. We then bring that all together to form the budget
so then how do they get approved?
in the budget process. So if they're included in the budget, that is, an indication that we'd like it to go forward.
Okay.
But it doesn't go forward unless what happens? You'd like it to go forward, but what actually makes it go forward?
If it's in the budget, and then the board has to approve contract, all the things that come afterwards.
It was in the budget that we were going to be open 5 days a week, and Judy got her head cut off for presuming that meant it was real.
Yeah, as I'm saying, it's not a guarantee that those things will happen. It's approval to allocate money for those things to happen. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff that happens in between. Costs, staffing, do we have the capacity to do those things? So a good example of this is we've approved like 6-ish projects for the ARPA funds this year. The staff are busy trying to implement those things, and to throw 6 new projects on them is difficult. taxed in their full-time job normal, and now we're asking them to implement some pretty big lifts. So that's the type of stuff we have to consider, even if it's in the budget. I would guess some of those ARPA projects, they're in the budget now, may not get done until '25, because we just can't pull them all off. May not get done until '25, because we just can't pull them all off.
Wasn't that like a COVID project, or no?
It's COVID funding, yes.
COVID-related funding.
Why, when there's so much information out there about how damaged all humans, all ages, especially children and especially seniors, were damaged by the lack of socialization during COVID, why didn't we warrant
Why did we spend $367,000 to repay van drive?
Yeah, as opposed to.
I mean, there's evidence that if police don't have strong shields, they'll be shot and killed. So any of those projects, you could say that there's evidence that says they're worthy. We just had to pick and choose, and we picked the ones that chose the ones that were more
How
aligned
did
with public
Ann
safety.
How did Ann Drive
Rank over the
rank over the senior center?
It didn't.
I thought it got approved.
It got
Yeah,
approved
approved.
separately than the ARPA funds. That was not part of
No,
the
that is
process.
ARPA money.
I know, Judy. I'm saying we went through a process and allocated the remainder of our ARPA funds and made decisions about what projects to fund and not fund.
I have a question, Ryan.
That doesn't sound.
I have a question.
I'm happy to answer more questions. There's nothing covert happening here.
Okay,
It's all in the up and up, was in a public meeting, you can go back and watch it.
I have a question. Should we spend our time researching and identifying grant funds for the planning commission and the CIP project?
I think if you had a grant opportunity that you could attach to the project, I imagine, I was a planning commissioner for three years. I imagine that may help you rank higher because there's some external funding source.
Okay,
The underlying piece to all of this is we have to have money to do anything.
right.
So the reason, to Marie's point, I think she's absolutely right. I only recall one project being completed as well because we didn't have the funding to pull off the rest.
Okay, so we really need to also look into grant funds.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay. I don't know how to do that, but I'd be willing to help.
Great.
Google.
Gene, I can send you some resources.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your public comment, Marie. Any other public comment? And Ryan? Yes, Ryan?
Yeah, I just wanted to let Cheryl know, and so you all hear. Sherry, you did send an email at 10:50 a.m. today asking to be on the agenda. There are 3 more emails after yours, so
Right.
people are giving you.
Well, I just wanted to raise my hand that I got the receipt for the sound system at $535 or whatever, so we paid for it. It's over there. It really could be as simple as not hooked up right, something stupid. So who knows whether the people that put it in did everything they should have. So we maybe need to spend $50 getting somebody an expert. Maybe I can find somebody,
Maybe someone on staff knows.
somebody on staff that knows that kind of system.
Don't we have an IT rep?
We should have an IT person somewhere in this township.
This doesn't fall under the IT contract.
Oh, okay.
But just somebody that would care enough to come in and look.
Yeah, I think Taylor has a degree in this, so I think she's the best person to tap into.
Excellent.
And we get her for free, sort of.
All right. Well, I just got the final answer, the final email just came in, that it was paid for, it was
Thank you. Any other comments from you, Sherry?
not yet.
Any board members like to make final comments as we close the meeting today? Thank you all for coming. Thank you for your time. Rebecca, we'll miss you.
Thank you.
I'm so
Thank you.
sorry, but
Rebecca, you
congratulations.
have done a great
Thank
job.
you. Thank you, I appreciate it.
We can run them out now.
Debs, will you sign these and turn them to the office? Thank you. And then can I have my proposal back? Do you still have it over there? The 17? Thank you.